Welcome to SML Total Access, where we break down news, predictions, and more in our Madden League. Now, let's get fired up for SML football.
Hello and welcome back to SML Total Access. I am Primetime 000, and with me is actually just a single co-host today, Dan He. What's going on, brother?
Not much, man. Not much. I'm trying to carry the weight of two people. I got me and Tiny here today.
Yeah. Well, you're carrying a lot. You carried dead weight already, and now it's just off your shoulders, maybe. So let's go ahead. Let's not waste any time. Let's get to first down here on Total Access. Speaking of Tiny Titan, he is on a roll, kind of. Is he going to make the playoffs, or what do you think his record's going to be in this resurgent Seahawks team?
Yeah, so, obviously, since Tiny bailed on us, the first topic should be talking about Tiny.
Yes.
And amazingly, we're actually not going to be talking about him in a negative light. We're not going to be making fun of him, at least not now. We're going to be talking to him in a positive light. Tiny is sitting here at 6-2. He's tied in a three-way tie for actually all three playoff spots. There's the Niners, Eagles, and Seahawks are all 6-2. Got Meats at 5-3. So it's a little tight there. But when you look at his schedule, I look at his schedule and I see he's got the Niners, Steelers, Rams, Falcons, Packers, and Lions. I see 4 wins out of that group. I see Tiny going at least 10-6, and I see him making the playoffs this year.
Yeah, Tiny's my guy. I got him making the playoffs as well. And he's doing it. He's running the ball. He's 4th in the league in rushing yards. He's 7th in the league in points scoring on offense. And his defense has been average. Just across the board. Nothing terrible. Just middle of the pack. I think he's going to beat the Lions. I think he's going to beat the Packers. And he might even beat KJ and possibly Lawyer Killer. He's going to have at least 10 wins. He's going to make the playoffs. And it's going to be good to see for the league. Obviously, he's gotten a lot of criticism for his DK Metcalf trade. And for him now to come in at the end of the season, into the cycle, and do this when some of the guys who critiqued him aren't going to be in the playoffs, but he is. I think it's poetic justice for Tiny Titan to not only make the playoffs, but hey, he might make a run at this thing. Who knows?
Is there a chance that Tiny's been playing 4D chess with us the whole time, preparing for this one moment right here?
He has positioned himself for a late cycle Super Bowl run, and we'll see what happens. We've been playing checkers. Tiny's been playing chess. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. Hey, man, let's move on now to second down here on the show. And I've got my fork out because, hey, last season of a cycle, it's time to stick a fork in a few people. Actually, we're going to stick a fork in 2 people each. Do you want to list your 2, or how do you want to do this?
Yeah. So I'll go first. We actually just got done. There was a game just played between the Dolphins and the Washington football team. And that, to me, was a stick it fork in it game. The loser of that game was done. They should just pack it in. They should start waiting for the ratings to be released for Madden 22. And QP, he lost to Coach Pauly. He's got another life, and so he's alive. QP right now is 3 games out of the wild card. And he's only got 7 games to play. So that's a lot of ground to make up. I think he's in trouble here. I think Clink, I think Rowan are playing good in division. I think QP's done. And then on the other side, I hate to say it because I think he's a good guy. I think he plays well. I think he's just in a bad division. If he was in the AFC North, I think he'd have a shot. Definitely if he was in the NFC, he'd have a shot. But Coop, sorry, Coop, man. I know you're 3-5. I know you still have a chance statistically in the last wild card, but man, 4 losses each year to the mighty powers of the Colts and the Jags. I'm putting a fork in Coop. I think Coop's done.
Yeah. So here's my fork. I'm sticking AFC wise. I'm going to stick one in the Baltimore Ravens. NYT mentally, I think he's checked out now. That Ravens team is a solid team, but he's not playing like he was. Look, here's the deal. He's 2-5. He's 3 games back behind the Bengals. He's also got the Browns. He's a game behind. I just don't see it. I don't think NYT's got it this year. So it was a good run this cycle. He made the playoffs a few times, but I think he's ready to wash that Ravens stench off of himself and get back maybe to Tennessee. We'll see what happens next cycle. Now, so I'm going to stick a fork in the entire NFC North Super Bowl chances. Now, playoff-wise, I'm sticking a fork in the 1-7 Lions, the 1-7 Bears, and the 1-7 Packers. That is atrocious. That is
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. I don't know. That is horrible. That is horrible. Let me say that again. That is horrible. 1-7 for 3 teams is pitiful. And the Vikings, I'm sticking a fork in their Super Bowl shot this year. Look, they're 5-3, but guess what? 3 of their wins this year have been against NFC North teams. That is the Bears, that is the Lions, and the Bears again. So what does that tell you for how well Faz has played this year? Not well. It's pitiful. It's atrocious. It's horrible. I'm sticking a fork in all 4 of them. Honestly, if Faz wasn't playing the NFC North, how many times is he playing? 8 games a year, 6 games a year, whatever it is.
Yep.
I question of how great his stats would be at the end of every season with some of his players. I mean, I would love to stat pad against the NFC North. I would love it.
Yeah, I think it's a fair question when you look at 3 teams, 1-7. I don't even think you could mathematically even try to do that. That's how unbelievable those 3 records are.
Yeah, a combined 3-21 between. That's pretty bad. Let's move on. Let's move on now. Hey, evals are coming up. I think they're coming up. We've got them put in. Our graphics gurus just got to make some tweaks. What do you, as a person who is just not an admin, what's your thoughts on evals, and what do you have to say for the people of the SML on evals?
Yeah. So again, hats off to you and the admin team. It's a difficult task. Obviously, it's no fun. Everyone's going to look at them, critique them. But it's a useful tool. It's something that's needed, something that separates kind of the middle of the pack, at least. The top guys to me are the top guys. They put in the time, they put in the effort, they deserve the rewards for their work. But the middle of the pack, hey, how are you going to decide between 4, 5, 6 different teams? So whatever it is, I would say the biggest complaint that I would have as someone just looking from the outside is, are they evaluated across the board, or do some teams whatever because they get more attention, because people chat about them more in chat, because whoever's grading them happens to see them more or happens to be around more, or just like, is there any sorts of just unintentional bias because it's only 1 guy or 2 guys trying to do the evals for sim play or for all those things? So just trying to be fair across the board. To me, that's the biggest thing. But I guess I would want to ask you the question: what would you want me or the average person to know about your perspective as you're doing the evals?
Yeah, so those are some great points, and I guess the thing I want the league to know about evals is that we don't just slap these things together, and obviously most of the time they're late anyway because we just procrastinate, honestly. But when we do these things, like for example, the process I go through is this. I've got like 6 criteria I evaluate. I'll go through and I'll run through everybody's eval score. I'll plug them in within about 10 minutes. I'll sleep on it. The next day, I'll go through and I'll make some tweaks again. I'll sleep on it again, do some other things, watch some tape, do some Gort checks in a private Gort room I have where I can do some Gort remote checks, and then I'll do it again. And then by the 3rd or 4th day, all my emotions gone, I feel, and I can make an accurate. I feel confident in what I've rated. Now Meats, he does it a little more analytical. His isn't gauging sim play. His is social media. So he actually counts tweets. Now you can count tweets and you can say, okay, this guy's tweeted every game. Yeah, he deserves a perfect score. Okay, this guy posted something we don't really want shine, like a negative light shine on the league. I'm going to dock him a point for that. That's how Meats does it. And Woods is kind of a half breed. You're supposed to be in chat every day, so he'll check out for that. And then chat conduct a little tough. Now the thing is, what keeps us honest, I think. For example, we'll go through and I'll have Woods grade me and I'll have Meats grade my grades, and they'll usually find 3 or 4 points I've got. Hey, Prime, you graded this guy a little harsh, or you were a little soft on this guy. Let's change this. Yeah. And I'll do the same to Meats, and I'll do the same to Woods, and we'll have that communication. And this is about a week-long process, and I feel at the end of the day, we take our emotional decision out of it. And I'm this time especially, I mean, we really dug in. I mean, we're talking just a point. Hey, this guy should have been an 8 instead of a 9 in overall activity. And we really got nitty gritty with it. Now it's just up to Meats to update the graphics.
Yeah. So say the person looks at it and they've got an issue or they, I mean, what's the best approach? Should they just kind of lightheartedly say something in main chat? Should they DM you? Should
Yeah.
they, what's the best way that we should handle this?
Yeah, so that's a good example. So what I would say is, if you look at what I do is I share the Excel file. I wasn't doing it for a while, but I just share the Excel file so you can see exactly what you got, exactly what the other guys got. And let's say you didn't get a perfect score in social media. It's got Meats' name at the top. You know that Meats graded you. Just take it to Meats, ask him
Yep.
why, and he'll tell you why. If you don't get a
Yep.
response back from the other ad, just DM me. But I handle
Yep.
about 80% of the evals, so most of it can come to me or just follow up with me, and I'll tell you. And honestly, sometimes if you DM me and you say, hey man, look, I actually did all this stuff, and I think you might have misgraded me. We'll take a look. I'll talk to the admins, and we might change your grade. That's happened a few times. Not a big deal. I'm not drawing a hard line and saying we're 100% right, because we're probably not.
Yeah.
But we're trying to be as
Yeah.
fair as we can. I'm not trying to screw anybody. I'm just trying to help the league the best way I can.
Yep. Sounds good, man. Can't
So.
wait for it. I'll be excited in 3 weeks when we get the evals.
Yeah, yeah. Meats told me they're done, but then he hasn't sent them yet. So that it's like my dog ate my homework kind of thing. I don't know.
Well,
So
Bomber's on it. So every 6 hours he posts a reminder about it. So we're good.
yeah, we'll be all right. So hey, man, I kind of like this one. It's the tip of the week now. Fourth down tip of the week. What's your tip from a elite AFC player like yourself?
Yeah, so my tip, I actually got this earlier in the week. It was the game that I watched between you and the Patriots, and there were two moments there. One, you threw a streak on a cover two. One you've run many times, and you weren't sure if it was going out of bounds or not. We could go back and forth. Maybe it would go out of bounds, maybe it wouldn't. But you decided, hey, I want to at least make the catch, and so you did the possession catch, made the 30, 40-yard catch, big play right there.
Yeah.
Earlier in the game, Matt had I think it was almost a touchdown, or at least it was a big third down. Would have given them a chance to tie the game, I think, instead of 3, or maybe go up 10. I forget the exact situation. Had a guy on the sideline wide open, no one near him, and he didn't use the possession catch. He just caught the ball and he ran out of bounds, and it wasn't a catch. So, I can't believe we're this late in the season, but I just, use the possession catch, use the aggressive catch, use the rack catch. I mean, it's so important. It can make the difference between a big game. It can make a difference between, that rack catch on a drag or a slant. You can turn the corner if you use that rack catch. So use X, use square, use triangle. Make sure you take advantage of that.
Yeah, that is a good example. That really does. I think that's what separates a lot of guys is when you do that. And when you could have a back and forth, oh, was this guy going to go out of bounds, or could I rat catched it? All that stuff makes a huge difference in the outcome of a game. It's just kind of like some people saying all cover threes is the same when it's not.
Right. Right.
It's just like not all catches in Madden are the same. And a lot of it is, if you use your user input, you rat catch it, you might drop it. I like possession catches a lot, just because I know I'm gonna get the yards, I'm gonna get the first. But be careful, because you might get picked a few times. You never know. And a lot of it's a feel thing. You just have to feel. You have to look. You have to have good peripheral. It's user skill on offense is what it is.
Yep.
And I think a lot of people who complain about receivers not making the play on the ball, which they don't all the time, but maybe they need to reevaluate what buttons they're pressing when the ball's in the air.
Yep.
So one opinion I have, a tip, and this is a common sense thing, but if your stick skills, if you don't play enough to where you can really boost your stick skills and be like a dump, or be like a bomber who's spinning like a freak on the sticks, that's okay. But one thing you can be good at is being aware of the clock and being a better game manager. This is super simple. But I watched a ZZ game. It was there was like 20 seconds left in the second quarter. He handed it off up the middle. Looked like he was playing conservative, but he broke like a 50-yard run. Could have got a field goal against Mike, and he just let the clock tick down, and it was the end of the half. it just baffled me that somebody could not know what the situation was, so just always look at the clock, be aware how much timeouts you have, and think: should I take the timeout now? Should I be spiking it? What are the late implications this could have, especially in the fourth quarter? I don't know about you, but I'm literally always doing math in my head during a game.
Yeah. I'll even take it a step further. There's times where I might be on defense, and I know a guy's purposely trying to run the clock down to, get the last possession in the first half, get the last possession in the game. And I'll actually turn up my aggressiveness on defense. I'll blitz a lot more, and I'll say, well, either I'm going to stop them or they're going to score, and I'll get the ball back and I'll get a chance.
Yeah.
So, it's even thinking ahead of that, not only just, knowing the clock, but also knowing like, hey, they're already in field goal range. They can run this clock out to win the game. I better just blitz everybody. If they break a long one, score a touchdown, then I get a chance. If not, maybe I can hold them to kick them out of field goal range. So, that's the difference between winning and losing is clock management.
Yeah, I agree 100%. No, that was a good tip there from you as well. Let's move on now. It's the extra point, typically the tiny five, but now we're calling it the dynamic Dan top five. Whatever, Dan, the floor is yours.
No. See, I don't want a Tiny to, I know he's out golfing and had a good time with his brother. Like, he should enjoy that. He shouldn't have any fear that he's losing his job or he's getting replaced. So we'll still call it the Tiny Five.
Okay.
But the Tiny Five that I'm going with this week is I saw that Marvel's coming out with this thing called What If later on this summer. Basically, like, what if something else changed in the Marvel series? What if certain stuff happened differently than what had actually happened? So I was thinking, what if would happen differently in this cycle of the SML? So I got 5 what ifs I'm going to share with you, and I want your feedback on it. So The first one is, what if Paulie and myself, we would have stayed to our word and we would have gone to the AFC South at team selection? What do you think would have happened if it was you, me, and Paulie?
A lot of blood. I don't think Bomber joins the AFC South either. I think he decides. I think you probably take Jacksonville maybe, and you probably honestly get the better end of me at that point, because that Jacksonville team is very easy to develop. And I think that. I think Bomber doesn't join the AFC South, and I think we just trade blows, and that's easily the best division in SML history.
Who do you think? You think it'd still be you and Paulie versus me? You think Paulie and I would have teamed up? Or you think you and me would have gone against Paulie? You think?
I don't know. See, that's a good point.
Yeah.
You and Paulie might have became an item.
Yep. Things could have been different, man. What if?
Think so.
What if things could have been different? All right, here's your second what if. What if season 1 Bomber would have beaten QB Stud in the AFC title game, and then gone on his first season and then beat Meats in the Super Bowl? What would have happened? What if?
I think that Bomber's mindset in the playoffs changes drastically. I think that he doesn't have as much trouble against you early on in the cycle in the playoffs, and now late cycle he's struggling against me. I think Bomber easily. I think people look at Bomber as the best in the SML 100%. Hit the whole scope of the cycle changes, and QB. It'd be interesting. Would QB have left the league after that game? We don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah, I think that's a great thought, because QB has that Super Bowl in his hand. But if he loses AFC title game, then comes back season 2 and then loses to NYT, is he going to be? Well, I'm not going to leave now because that looks like sour grapes.
Yeah.
I think that would have put a lot of interest. That would have been interesting. Would have happened. So. All right, number 3. What if Dookie never came to the SML?
Well, Dan, he's probably got 2 Sambardis right now. Faz and you.
No fat finger, baby.
No fat finger. Dan's happy. He's happy as can be. But Faz is back in the Super Bowl, right? Because Dookie's beaten Faz, I think, in the NFC Championship game.
Yeah, I couldn't remember if it was Faz or RD. It might have been RD.
Was it RD? Oh, RD probably makes 3 straight Super Bowls then.
Yep.
Wow, yeah. Yep. That NFC would be a lot more interesting. Dookie did have. I mean, let's face it. Dookie had his hand all over it for a little bit there.
Oh yeah, for gameplay. I mean, that season and a half he was here, he just ran through the NFC. So that would have been interesting. All right, number 4. What if Tiny doesn't trade you, DK? Do you actually make it to the Super Bowl? Is that the thing that took you over the edge? What would have happened?
I don't think it's done that much for me. I use him. I feel like I don't use him like a lot of other people do. I mean, I send him on a lot of streaks, but the way my offense is, I probably don't get the most out of DK. So my defense would probably be a little bit better, but poor old Tiny, man. I mean, life would be a lot easier on Tiny Titan. He probably isn't the most hated man in the league, and every stream Tiny's name isn't mentioned. But I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I guess I was going to ask you, would there have been another guy you would have gone after? Is there someone else, like if DK fell through, is there someone else out there you think you would have had based upon not having DK?
No, I didn't have. So basically, what happened was I was sitting in a PSN chart party with Tiny, and I was like, "Hey, would you trade DK?" He's like, "Nah, bro." And then I started sending him offers, and Bomber was in the party, and Bomber started sending offers too, and then it became this like all out war. So I'll never offer a trade in a PSN party again.
All right. Last what if? What if Rowan would have hung on and beaten Faz in season 7, that divisional round, the season that Faz goes on, win the Super Bowl? What would have happened? What if?
So three things. One, the Colts go 3 straight. Colts 3-peat.
Yep.
Two, Faz becomes the hardcore folding chair of the SML. I mean, he's flaccid Faz to the max. He still has that a little bit, but I mean, it's really bad because he got upset by Rowan at that point. And 3, I think Rowan gets more plugged into the SML and stays more plugged into the SML. I think that if he wins that, I think he's in the NFC Championship game after that win, and he has a puncher's chance. I think it was against D Muse maybe. He might win that game. Maybe we see a Rowan Co-Prime Super Bowl, and there would have been a lot of fun trash talk in that one actually. But
was that before his girlfriend, or like could he not even have the girlfriend because he might have been in the Super Bowl and focused on that too much?
Maybe Rowan's love life has changed, or maybe he's, I don't know. That's a good point.
All right, man. I think it's pretty fun to do this. Maybe there's some others out there. Maybe the chat can get popping a little bit on
Oh, I think.
out there.
Yeah. No, that's good. Yeah, man, that was good. I enjoyed that a lot. We'll have to do that again sometime, guys. That was Dan. I'm Prime. That was SML Total Access. Tiny, we miss you. We hope to have you back next week. But everybody, thanks for listening. And Dan, you have a good night.
Yeah. Take care, guys.